Hey, how you doing, guys? This is episode 4 of Inspired Wisdom, and I'm here to talk to you about Willow Smith from the legendary family that consists of Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Jaden Smith. So, it's obvious that these guys are super talented and their kids are getting what their parents had passed down to them. Now, Willow Smith, very interesting person. So she's into rock, metal, and punk, and she did something really nice during one of her mother's episodes of the Red Table Talk. For Mother's Day, she got her mother's old band wiZdom back together, and she was singing lead vocals and playing guitar. And her mother was able to see this, and it was very emotional for Jada Pinkett, and I'm sure it was just as emotional for Willow to be playing her mother's songs and honoring her that way. And I have to say, she did an excellent job. She has really good stage presence and she seems fearless. She seems like she had really good voice control as well. And she was playing guitar very well too. She was playing harmonies with the lead guitarist named Pocket. And it was a really nice thing to watch. After that day, I started to look up some live videos of her, and she did a great job on every single one. I am also a child of a musician who is famous in their country, Sri Lanka. My dad, Desmond Rodrigo. And, growing up, it was nice to have that and be able to be, proud of having a father who came from almost royalty, for a lack of better words. I was proud to tell my friends this, proud to tell my teachers this, and it's also part of being socially accepted, creating my own identity. And, my dad, he tried to push me towards music as a kid, and it didn't always work. I kind of had to find my own way. I remember in fifth grade, particularly, that a chorus teacher came to our school from, middle school, recruiting singers. And I just tried it because I knew that my dad was a singer and maybe I had some of those talents, which I remember singing some of the Lion King and stuff like that. And, I remember enjoying it. So that started me on my journey to being a vocalist. She talks about how she was her biggest fan growing up, to Jada Pinkett Smith and wiZdom. And she remembers being on the tour bus, going on tour with her mother, with her brother there and her dad. And she just remembers her mother being a superhero because she was a caretaker, she was mom, she was a rock star, and she just constantly looked up to her. And, what better way to honor your mother or your father than to, take up what they did and follow in their footsteps. And that's kind of what I did as well. I'm proud that I went through the journey that I did. Although I didn't listen to him always, I found my way to, doing what he did. And that's just because, I had musicians in my household all the time. A lot of his friends are musicians. Every instrument was just right there at my disposal. And although I never picked them up, and if I did, it was just horrible. So I never was really taught to play an instrument or anything like that. But my dad always pushed me to sing, sing, sing. You have it in your blood. Sing. And he was right about that. Listen to your parents. Anyway, so a lot of people in Sri Lanka who have parents who are musicians, they tend to follow in their footsteps. And the difference I feel like between the US and Sri Lanka is that in Sri Lanka, it's socially accepted and you are seen as honoring your mother and father by doing that. And you could be just as big as them. Now, in the US, I get a different vibe. I mean, Don't get me wrong, I was talking to my friend. There are people who follow in their parents' footsteps and go, divert to different areas of music. However, I feel like, especially in certain genres of music, it's looked down upon if you follow in your parents' footsteps, almost as if, well, you're coming from privilege. What do you have to say? Oh, well, of course you're gonna be able to do this because you have all the financial backing. What I say is, if the person is making good music, regardless of who their parents are, doesn't matter, right? They're making good music and I want to listen to it. And you never know, you might get something even better than what came before. Um, yeah, there's a certain level of privilege that you get from being a musician's kid, but that doesn't mean that your music is less meritable. If it's good music, it's good music. And yeah, they should be given a shot just like anyone else. Don't get me wrong, they might have more money backing them and a name backing them, but that's the luck of the draw. Not everybody's lucky, not everybody's talented, right? There are people that are way more talented than me that don't have my name, but they will get exposed if they move down the right channels. I'm still trying to make it and find the correct channels. It's hard navigating through the music industry, and you have to be careful, because that comes with its evils as well that you have to be mindful about. I saw this article and it talks about an interview that was given to Willow, and she talks about how she was ridiculed for liking heavy metal, rock, and punk, being a black girl or a black woman now. The things that I was said to when I was young was, oh, why you listen to that stuff? That's white boy music. Or, that's crazy music. It's all these stereotypes that have a hint of truth to them, but they're not completely true. They're more ignorant than anything, because to me, these types of songs and feels, they are universal. Everybody feels them. Anyone can like them. And, it's just ignorant to say that. And don't get me wrong, everyone judges. I am guilty of judging people and holding on to stereotypes. I wasn't offended. I just fought for it, right? I was just like, yeah, this music is tough. We're on a football team, we're on a basketball team. I don't want to listen to rap music the entire time or pop music. That stuff doesn't get me hyped. So I was able to push away all these, these people who were saying all these things. I didn't really care because I wasn't taking anybody's crap anyway. I mean, there are some rap groups out there and rappers that really get me hyped up. I mean, back in the day, I used to play Tupac to get hyped up, DMX, or things like that, the Onyx, Wu-Tang. But after a while, that stuff was a little older, and metal and rock was still kind of going strong during the 2000s, especially with the new metal movement. And you had bands like Papa Roach, System of a Down, and Disturbed, and they were playing this in the locker room, and this stuff was getting us hyped. I remember specifically when we were in the weight room, a song I never heard of, although I was downloading a lot of their tunes on Kazaa. Everybody remember that? And before that, Napster. A Metallica song called Sad But True. Oh my gosh, when that intro comes in, and I was about to do some exercise, and I was just listening to this, vibing to that intro, and I was like, man, this is so good, so heavy. And once that dropped, I was like an animal. I wanted to like burst up out of myself. I mean, that album alone with its mix was just out of control. So yeah, she talked about experiencing some racism with some skinheads at a show and them calling her the N-word and things like that, and how, there's a lot of pressure as it is going on stage and performing live, let alone being a black woman performing, to a group of people that don't necessarily look like her. I definitely could connect with that as well. Yeah, when you look around, and I felt this as a kid, like, and this is nothing against anyone. It's just, sometimes you want to see people that look like you. Sometimes I remember specifically as a kid going to school, and I used to look around, and I used to, have a lot of friends. And then I used to go into the bathroom, and when I was washing my hands, I would look up at the mirror and be like, whoa, who's this kid? And I'm like, wow, I don't have the same complexion as these other kids. But, it was nothing against anyone. Again, it was just something that I felt as a kid, and I don't know if it made me feel uneasy. I almost remember saying to myself, I wish I was their complexion because I don't look like them. But, this is where we grew up. My mom and dad, chose to move over here to give us a better life. And I'm very appreciative of them for doing that. I'm very appreciative of this country and the people who treated me well out here, and the privileges that I was able to attain and got. So anyway, that being said, yeah, there is a lot of pressure being someone of color in the rock and metal community. So yeah, she did a great job. I want to say thank you to Willow. Thank you for being out there and not caring what people think. That was really nice what you did to your mom. Keep up the good work. So the final thing I want to go over is contributions from minorities to rock, metal, and punk. So if you look at the inception of these genres, you'll see that minorities played a huge part in it, and it just shows that everyone is a part of these genres, and it's because music is meant to be shared. So if you listen to bands like Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Queen, Guns N' Roses, you name it, right? The Rolling Stones. You can actually type in who influenced these bands, look them up on YouTube. There is interviews, there's articles. They will tell you that a lot of it came from the early blues players, jazz players, big band players, a lot of whom were African Americans, and other minorities, right? And they'll tell you straight out, yeah, I was influenced by people like Link Ray, or I was influenced by Robert Johnson. They were influenced by Rosetta Tharpe, right? Rosetta Tharpe, she is the main influencer of Elvis, who got her band to back him. Johnny Cash, also hugely influenced by Rosetta Tharpe, who was a woman, right? Women played a huge part in rock and roll early on. Tina Turner, right? What a monster voice. She showed Mick Jagger how to dance, right? And that voice, that shrill of a scream that she had. Wow. Jay Hawkins, Screamin' Jay Hawkins, the first shock rock, right? Who influenced everyone from Alice Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne to Rob Zombie. He's the one who painted his face and used skulls coming out of a coffin, right? And screaming on tracks. Hence why they call him Screamin' Jay Hawkins. You had Link Ray, who was a Native American, came out with this song called Rumble. And the song was the first song to be banned on radio waves because the radio stations thought that it was going to incite violence amongst teenagers, gang violence. Ike Turner, right? The first husband to Tina Turner. He came out with arguably the first rock song ever. And that was called Rocket 88, which he made with the Delta Cats. Excellent song. So those two songs, Rumble and Rocket 88. I actually made my YouTube channel named after them. It's called Rumble Rocket 88. So make sure you subscribe to the channel too. So yeah, you know, you take a look at Victor Wooten and this book, The Music Lesson, which I read through. Excellent book. It talks about his journey to becoming a musician, a more competent musician, and sometimes that involves breaking the rules. And he has this relationship with this imaginary friend of his, which I think is just the person that he wants to be, that he talks to. And he's talking to his consciousness, I think. And it gets a little weird, but, you know, he's a extremely well-rounded musician, bass player, and great book. Check it out. African American, and you know, he's still doing things today. There's this video with that he does with the YouTuber Music Is Win, that talks about how it's more about groove than just about notes when it comes to music, and phenomenal. I bought this. This was a one-shot that I got from someone posting about this book on Facebook, Roman Oscuro Martos. It's called And Justice for Art. It's about heavy metal artwork and its history, and it goes over all these albums and shows these beautiful pictures. I don't know if you guys could see, but yeah, beautiful stuff. And wow, look at that. I turned to the right page. Sepultura, a Brazilian metal band that made some of the most iconic albums, such as Beneath the Remains, right? You had Chaos AD, Arise, great stuff. Just look at that cover, too. I had to get it. It was a one-shot. Kind of fell apart, but that's all right. We could just glue that up. But yeah, minorities are involved in these genres, and we belong there, okay? We belong just like everybody else, right? If we start to think of each other as just human beings who are, you know, what makes us unique is our individuality, and, you know, our culture too. That's part of our identity. Yes, absolutely. But it's our individuality and our, you know, the things that we have in common with each other that will bring us together, like rock and metal. Don't let these things divide us, right? But yeah, again, thank you to Willow. Thank you for people like Victor Wooten, for people like Tina Turner, Mr. Martos, for, you know, being a part of this journey that we're all on, all right? Music is beautiful. Music is a journey. Be good to each other. Don't judge too much, even though it's going to happen anyway. But keep it heavy and show some love. All right. That's episode 4 of Inspired Wisdom. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you guys again. Subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys. Peace.